Hello, welcome to the headline segment. This is Breakfast Live on GTV. Follow our social media handles GTV Ghana, because why not? And we are aiming for that 1 million by December, and you can help us make that happen. Interact with us. Our WhatsApp number is also very active on the show, 05555610034. This is the headline segment. I'm sitting with two of my favorite ladies, Akosia Hansen, media personality, artistic activist, and culture curator, and Na Atwe Ni Ope, communications expert, and our favorite PPAG person ever. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for making the time once again. It's like every Friday, it just comes by so quickly. Yeah. And then it gets you thinking, what do I want to talk to Thelma about today? And I ask you that question every morning. So I just know that you have something to share. What are your thoughts? What's your rant of the day? I'll start with you, Akosia.
Okay, first of all, you're looking lovely. Shall I wish I got a memo on that black
stars in Madagascar on Sunday.
Nice. And the lipstick to... matches like, that's what's up. So for me today, I love to turn rants into flowers because it's my way of, trying to correct the problems I see by lauding the good so that the things I have to rant about, people correct it. So today I'll turn it to flowers. Today I want to give Ghanaian musicians their flowers. We were just talking about the African Music Award category at the Grammys on the social media corner. And honestly, it's something that all Africans on the continent should see, especially African musicians on the continent should see as, the laurels for the work that they have wrought. We know that African music has been, music that's influenced music all over the world, from jazz to blues to whatever, right? And today we have this category that's trying to recognize the unique local expressions through so many things. And Ghanaian drill is in there. We have Alte music in there. We have high life in there, and for me, I think it's a big thing. My only problem was with all these categories in one award, how are you going to place Ghanaian drill against some high life, against some South African Kwaito, Genge? But it's a first step, and I hope it'll just spread. And so for me, I want to say congratulations to Ghanaian musicians. Amare has released an album, Fountain Baby, which is doing very well. It was listed in Rolling Stone's top albums of 2023, and Amare is Ghanaian. We should be celebrating. We just saw Oil on My Head, beautiful visuals from Black Sherif, right? These are our people, artists doing this in spite of how the economy is falling. They are doing this. So for me, these are my flowers this morning.
Akosia, you just put us in a good Friday mood, and we just hope this continues all throughout the day. Nah.
Hi, Miss okay. But why me feel? Right. Anyway, so good morning to all our viewers. They make time to watch us every day. I was just telling Kav that yesterday I was in a long day meeting at the Ghana AIDS Commission, and someone said, I'm beginning to love GTV, the admin, Kav, Thelma, they mentioned everybody. So I bring you warm compliments from the Ghana AIDS Commission, the team there. They said, they are sending all the GTV teams so much love. And then please, the gentleman said Father's Day, we are not making noise. Please, we are shouting. Guys, please, we are shouting. Please, can you hear us? We are shouting. Please, it's Father's Day, we are shouting. I hope we've shouted enough. Yes. So when it's Mother's Day, we make all the noise. And so please, I hope you've shouted enough. But it's not a rant. But my issue for this morning is that today is the International Day of the African Child. And so this morning we are sending very warm compliments also to all African children, all Ghanaian children, to tell them that, see, we are promising them, all of us seated here, all stakeholders, anybody in any position of, I don't want to say authority, but a privilege to serve, influence, to say that we'll leave Ghana better than we came to meet it. And then by the time they are getting to where we also are, they should leave Ghana better than they also came to meet it. So Thelma, the theme for this year's celebration is the rights of the African child in the digital environment. And then a research by the Ghana Education Service has stated that 7 out of 10 Ghanaian children have access to internet for learning. Learning
7 out of 10.
Yes, for learning. Okay. But let not also lose sight of the fact that the internet is also, while becoming a safe place for learning, it's also becoming an unsafe place for learning because there is both good and bad content. Yes. And so, as parents, as aunties, uncles, we should try, to guide these kids in their digital space, so that at least they can use these digital approaches to enhance learning. We use the digital processes to have innovative ways for them. I mean, we should have more innovation coming from young people. And so to all children in Ghana, we wish you well. And the promise is that, see, education will get better. Textbook to student ratio should improve. Desk to student ratio would improve for you. I mean, healthcare, anything that would make your learning as Ghanaian children a very good one. We promise to talk about it, and then we promise, we'll turn it into flowers. So this morning it's a request, Mr. President, Madam First Lady, Second Lady, please. Today is the day of the African child, the day of the Ghanaian child. Let us do something. Let us meet our targets for these young people and leave Ghana better than we came to meet it. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, ladies. Na Ache and Akosia expressing their thoughts of the day right here on GTV Breakfast. Let's get into the details of what the newspapers are telling us this morning. I have three before me. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times, and it's Dr. Afari-Gyan's photo that is dominant on the page, talking about introducing new technology into election processes. Hasten slowly is what the former EC boss is telling the group that is in charge now. We'll get some details of that story a bit later. The Asantehene appeals to factions in Boko conflict to lay down guns, urges cooperation in bringing peace. Remember that it was the Chieftaincy Minister, Mr. Asamoah Boateng, who paid a courtesy call on the Asantehene at Menchia to introduce himself to the prominent chief. Elsewhere in the newspaper, 500 houses at Ablekuma Ramza site to undergo earthquake-resistant tests. And also in the Ghanaian Times, the High Court stops OSP from arresting Charles Bissiou. Those details also dominant in the Daily Graphic newspaper. OSP halts OSP's arrest of Charles Bissiou. Other stories: electricity access hits 90%. 2024 Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh pictured there with that story on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Again, the Otumfuo's issue being brought up again in the Daily Graphic. Otumfuo steps in to resolve Boko conflict, and the Mirror celebrates fathers on Sunday, also on the front page of the Daily Graphic. So more like what Na said, we don't make enough noise, they said. Well, noise. Father's Day is on Sunday. The final newspaper: be guided by our cultural values in considering proper human values. Yagbonra speaking to Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin when he paid a courtesy call. So chieftaincy issues quite dominant in the papers today. Dr. Bawumia to file nomination forms today is what the finder is telling us. And this is an issue of concern. We've been talking about it for the past couple of days about fraud when it comes to finances. The final newspaper says 82 million Ghana cedis stolen from financial institutions and Momo accounts. 188 staff of financial institutions are part of the criminals. So if those people are found guilty, they all need to face the full rigors of the law. Elsewhere in the final newspaper, fraudsters steal 26 million Ghana cedis from mobile money accounts in 2022, an increase of 117%. So people are stealing money from people's Momo accounts. And I wonder how people don't notice when monies go out of their Momo accounts, but we'll get some details later. So electricity access in the news, the Otumfuo on the Boko conflict in the news. The court is halting the arrest of Charles Bissiou as the OSP goes on that tangent. So the OSP has also come out to state clearly that it has the powers of arrest. The court says it does not. So let's see where that story goes. Assin North by-election, EC concludes balloting, and we are told that the NPP would be in the top position and the LPG candidate is second and the NDC candidate would be third on the ballot. An independent candidate who was supposed to have been fourth has withdrawn from the race. We'll get some details later. Professor Amate Edu was an outstanding writer and advocate. The president making those assertions there yesterday when the family called on him at the Jubilee House to announce the date of the funeral. We are told that she will be accorded a state honor to send her off. New technologies by the EC. MPs call for closure of witches' camps. And I've heard the MP Honorable Jifa Gomashi making these calls, rallying her fellow MPs to come along on that journey to close down the witches' camps and stop the inhumane treatment that they undergo. Speaker questions barring of chiefs from politics. Should chiefs be allowed to take active part in politics? All those questions need to be answered. Apart from the Ablekuma Ramsar side story, there's also 50 houses on Westland waterways that have to be demolished. The Deputy Minister making the claim at the back page of the Ghanaian Times. So a lot of stories be guided by our cultural values. Ladies, which one do we want to unpack first? I'll start with you now.
Well, so maybe tell me any. I mean,
any of them. So electricity, are we satisfied with where we are with electricity now? We've had issues in the past with power generation. Now we are told that we even have excess capacity for which we are paying for energy that we do not even consume. So is it comforting? Recently, just this week actually, the Gridco got a new substation in the Accra area, and we are told that it would help industrialization in general. But now Energy Minister is saying by next year we'll have 90% electricity access. I'm guessing it's across the country, and surely that should be of some comfort to us.
I mean, I agree with you. So for those of us who have always lived with electricity, maybe this may mean nothing, but for people who have never seen electricity and then now you have access to it, it is everything. And like you said, it should give us real tangible results. Electricity access should be able to give us, industrialization, create the jobs we need. So it's not just about access, that bebre or hoppy, but in the abundance of it, are there people who still have lack? I don't know if you understand what I mean. So there is access, 90% access to electricity. Industries are still struggling. I mean, people can't even afford, so access is one thing, affordability is another. And so the access may be there, but people simply cannot afford. And so whilst the minister is talking about access to it, let us also look at affordability. Because tariffs went up not too long ago, and you'd have businesses struggling. And so we should not actually tackle access on one hand, and we should tackle them together. Access, affordability, reliability, stability, that is the word. The access, it must be stable.
Yes. Yesterday, some parts of Accra had, is it low voltage or low current? I don't even know what they call it. And I wasn't quite sure whether it was area specific or it was just that building that we were on that had the low voltage. So where do people go to get answers to some of these questions? If you find that there's your house has a low voltage, or you're not getting as much power as you should, who do you go to, and at what time of the day will they be available to restore the power to full capacity for you?
Well, so you see, sometimes, I don't know, it comes back to the systems that we manage. And so maybe because I have saved the toll-free number of the ECG on my phone, it is easy to get them. But somebody who does not know where to go, people's light go off, and sometimes they're unable to tell where to go, what to do, and then they're like, okay, maybe it's a problem. They'll come and figure out. People simply do not know where to go. But the thing is that the ECG officers, per what I know, they are open the ordinary 8 to 5. When you walk in and you make a complaint, they would always come. If not immediate, they would tell you, okay, go which area, would come there around this time. And I've seen instances where that same day that you make to go make the complaint, they have come to actually have a look at it. But like I was saying, so Thelma, it must translate into tangibles. Access must create, it must create jobs. It must make life, easier. And I don't know how soon the minister promises for us to get maybe 99%. Thelma, we must get there.
The song is saying that, so let me read a bit of the story. Access to electricity is expected to reach 90% by the close of next year. The Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has said, he explained that the current level of access was 88.75%, and by next year, the country would hit the 90% mark, making it possible for the nation to achieve universal access by 2025. So universal access by 2025 is the goal. We have barely a couple of years to achieve
so by
that
universal,
target.
You mean the whole of Ghana should have electricity?
That's what I would interpret it.
If it's so maybe national access by 2025. Well, so we'll be alive by 2025 and come and see if people in very rural areas still have access, have gotten access to electricity. I'll keep my thoughts there.
I'm excited that we are even talking in this context. We are talking. He was speaking on powering a sustainable and digital future for West Africa using the pioneering cases of the Bui Power Authority Ghana. And Dr. Puku Prempeh said the country was also on course to achieve 10% contribution of renewable sources to the generation mix by 2030. That is the part that excites me, because renewable energy is clean energy, it's green energy, and it has less impact on the environment that we are trying to protect for posterity. So how does that make you feel, Akosia?
I mean, anything renewable is good. You know, I think you said everything you need to say about this topic. But what you mentioned about the low current situation, I think it's a problem that started over the weekend. My area also, for the whole day on Sunday, was low. I don't know if it's low current or low voltage. And then so some parts of the building had their lights off completely. Some parts had their lights on. And then those who have their lights on, some of them it's very low. So if you use your microwave, for instance, it doesn't heat anything. And then so usually when that happens, then the whole building, everything, the lights have to go off completely and then come back on. And then you have it at the pace. So I mean, if we are going to be talking about this, there's all of these issues, everything she's mentioned, accessibility, stability. You know, it's a globalized world. Hey, like I remember when I was studying for exams and stuff in uni, and then you get light off and then you're using a candle. I used to study with the candle, and then the candle will burn my head just to get some education, just to get a degree.
Here in Accra?
Oh, here in Accra, yes. University of Ghana.
Our University of Ghana.
Yes, you know. And then at home too, because I'm at home learning, and then the lights will go off. You have exams, you have things to read. And for me, I always felt the depth of, hey, I'm competing with these people from all over the world, and where I am right now, my lights are off. You know, and these are the people I'm trying to compete with on a global stage, get to, certain levels.
And you are lucky, you are in Accra. There's relatively better power supply in many parts of Accra than it is in other parts of the country. Some communities do not even have electricity at all. Of course, those efforts being made to get them lighted are on course, but for a lot of people, that is a daily story for them. It's a daily story. So yours is a one-off. Theirs is the
constant thing. Yes. So like we said, if this is going to be till 2025, this should be the dream that everyone has access and there's full stabilized electricity. And this was a dream from Kwame Nkrumah from the day of our independence, just to see where we've come. If it wasn't for him, for the building of the dam till now, which was actually what brought Ghana into its first state of debt, building the dam, because of all the money we had to borrow. So yeah, we hope to see the dream fully fulfilled, basically. But I'm very interested in the witch camp story. Yeah, if you could share details on that.
There is a witch camp story. So yesterday, the MPs were calling, it's in the Ghanaian Times page number 4. Let me get to that story. And I saw Honorable Jifa Gomashi's photo with that. So page 4, Ghanaian Times, members of parliament have decried the use of witches' camps and have unanimously called for the closure of all such settlements in the country. They said the closure would bring to an end the barbaric and inhumane treatment meted out to the alleged witches, who are mostly old and vulnerable women, rallying her colleagues to demand an end to the phenomenon, which has claimed the lives of some victims. Ms. Jifa Gomashi, the MP for Ketu South, said it was an affront to human rights and dignity of victims for such barbaric acts to be visited on them. In a statement on the floor of the House yesterday, to mark this year's International Day of Older People, the Ketu South MP said state actors must enforce laws that protect the rights of older people and punish those who abuse them to serve as a deterrent to others. It is shameful, Ms. Gomashi said, for law enforcement agencies to look on unconcerned for the rights of the elderly and vulnerable to be abused in the name of cultural practice. Having contributed to their respective quotas in diverse ways in the development of the country, the MP said the vulnerable in society needed protection. And she had other people backing the call. Isunafo South MP, Mr. Eric Opoku, also joining. Dr. Frida Prempeh, MP for Tano North constituency, also supporting. And Mr. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, MP for North Tongue, also joining calls for the witches' camps to be closed down. The MP for Takoradi constituency, Mr. Kwabena Otre Dakumensa, also agreed with the assertion by the Ketu South MP that the witches' camps should be closed down. But you see, when the calls for closure comes, you ask yourself, where do they go?
Good question. Very good question.
Because these communities, in some cases, chased women out, forced them to flee. Some are seeking refuge, literally, in the witches' camp. Because if they go to the community which has accused them of being a witch or a wizard, chances are they will not be safe. So as much as the witches' camps are, we don't want to see them, and I totally agree, close them down. But what's the plan to reintegrate them? And that's the only question I would. What are you?
That was exactly my question. I'm so glad you raised it up, because I watched Yaba Bedu's the Gambaga Witches Camp, the documentary she did on it years ago. And honestly, the very first thing you look at, how can there be a witches camp? How can, all of this? But when you go into the details and the nitty gritties and see how they are led there, like you said, they are chased out. Sometimes, what are the causes? So let's talk about some of the causes. Sometimes you find some people in the village seeing an older, successful, rich woman, and because they somehow think they are jealous of that wealth, they somehow place a witch claim on this person, take all her wealth, burn her houses, and then call her a witch. And therefore now she has no place to go. Her family is supposed to ostracize her. There's also situations where though there's some misfortune happens, and all of a sudden we are going to blame the old woman in the house because it's her fault or I had a dream or whatever, and it's her who is causing my joblessness. It's her who is causing me. All of these things are economic problems, economic suffering. And when it's paired with, cultural ignorance and all of that, this is what happens. And most of the time, once again, I always say, is women who bear the brunt of these things, right? So therefore, we call them witches, and then they are forced to go. So the camps have been places, in that documentary, for instance, it showed how the camps was a place for the women to escape to. There's a chief there who takes, protection over the women over there and in the space. It's not for free. He makes them work for him. So they work on his lands in return for his protection. But for them, it's also, for some of them, it's safe, because at home, if they go, they'll either kill them, and they've also burned their houses down. You know what I'm saying? So if we are going to talk about shutting the witch camps, this is like putting plaster over a sore without dealing with putting plaster. If someone has cancer, putting plaster on their thumb, saying that we're going to deal with the cancer by putting plaster on their thumb, that won't solve the issue. Go to the deep-seated issues. What's the cultural ignorance? Why do people go to that as a very first thought to solve their economic struggles? That, I have to blame a witch, and it has to be the older person in our family. Today, I didn't know that yesterday was International Day of the older people, older persons, and today is International Day of Children. This is such a nice, back-to-back day placement, because children and the elderly are the most vulnerable in our society. When you're a child, that's why you need adults to take care of you, protect you till you become, fully adult to move on your own. And then when we go from adult age to old age, you do need that protection and care, because now you're weaker. It's not like you're going back to child form. And it's so sad that a human being can go through their life, go through all these struggles, live in this Ghana with all of this, then you get to your old age, you finish all your hustle, you have your house there, you're living, and then someone says, this person, you're a witch, all this money is you. And then they take everything away from you. They make your life, and this is when you're supposed to be in your resting stage of life, preparing to transition, to be happy with your family. And yet, this is what we as a society do to these people. So for me, I'll say that closing the witches' camps, let's not be too hasty. Go deep into the causes. Go and start to have community training. Talk to the people in the community. Have these conversations, understand where
are they willing to take them back?
Yeah, exactly. And where do these ideas of these very dangerous gender ideas also come from?
But there are men in there. So recently,
there are men in there too. Yes,
we have a more recent
jealousy.
We have a more recent documentary on our GBC News channel. Perhaps one of these days you might catch it, and it was put together by one of our great hands, Peggy Amadonko. She went to Gambaga and she put the story together. So there are men there who have to also endure the tag of in their case, they are wizards.
Wizards, yeah.
And I remember a couple of years ago, my then colleague, still great friend, Abdulhai Mumin, also went to the witches' camp. And if you saw how sometimes they go and work in people's farms, and when the food is harvested, the leftovers are the ones that they will now go and sift through. And they will pick grain after grain, if it's maize, to get a bowl of maize to go and mill and then use it for whatever food they want to prepare. They go to the market after the market day, at the end of the day, and sift through what has been left on the ground.
Like scavenge.
And I remember when I watched that story that Abdul put together, I was almost in tears. But these are people who don't have homes to return to, and that's their life.
It's sad.
Well, so I was just asking myself that who wouldn't want to grow old? I mean, which of us here, 3 of us or any of them?
Some people want to be young forever.
No, so what I'm saying is that you don't. I mean, you want to die. Is that what you want? I mean, you want to be. You want to grow old,
yes.
but even in good health. I mean, and prosperity. Everybody wants to grow old, and I'm thinking that why would people advance causes against human dignity?
Thank you.
Anything that is not dignifying must not be mentioned. I mean, amidst the country that prides itself as being, social. I mean, in social protection. And when it comes to social protection, you say, in Ghana, we protect, And so for a country that prides itself in something like that, anything against human dignity must never be mentioned amongst us. Now, Thelma, so I was also wondering, you see, we cannot close down the witches' camp as we sit, like closing down and then saying, like we're asking, so where are you taking them to? What we can do, and in my layman understanding, is that let us keep the camps as they are. But like Akosi also said, let us attempt to actually halt the processes that drives and adds on to the numbers. Because if there are 90 witches, pardon my language, in the Gambaga witches camp today, tomorrow it shouldn't get to 91. And so we should keep the 90 and see how to manage them, give them dignified living, and then also channel energy into not adding on to the numbers over there. And I was also wondering who actually substantiates who are witches.
There are processes.
They'll
throw some chicken, and depending on how the chicken lands, you who
is a witch?
Your witchcraft
is a witch.
Guaranteed.
Who is a witch
or not?
So who is a witch? I'm just there.
I'm not the one who throws the chicken.
And simply because you think that you suspect that I have a hand in something, then I'm a witch.
And it's always,
and then my life takes
the vulnerable,
a 360
it's always those who are on the low end of the economic value chain, those who are not as affluent. Have you seen a rich witch before?
They are always poor. Is that what you're saying? No, but I understand.
Most of
I understand what Thelma is saying. So because the person is in a vulnerable state, you want to take advantage of them and say they are witches.
Because if depending on your background, if you begin to tattle tales, and I have an 86-year-old grandfather, so I know what I'm saying when it comes to her in particular, that older people sometimes do not even make sense. It's like children.
Just like children.
You're talking to them and
they are giving you responses.
If you have the benefit of a proper health system, you would know that perhaps because of her age, she's behaving this way because of X, Y, Z.
I mean, issues of dementia, issues of all those things.
So they can make things up. Some people have all these thoughts running through their heads, and some people are having conversations with people that are beyond the veil that the rest of us cannot see. But if you have the benefit of education on health matters, on mental health issues, on the deteriorating mental faculties and capacities of older people, you would appreciate that they are going through some of these things. But if you are from a community where those issues are not talked about, then you can understand why people will think that, if this old woman is talking to herself, then she's a witch. Or how did she end up on the roof? She was flying and somebody caught her and somebody was praying and she ended up on the roof. So that's a sign of witchcraft.
And she was flying.
It's a social construct, and it's a narrative that needs to change.
Yeah.
I think that change the names of the camps is the first place to go. Let's not call it witches' camps anymore. How about we call them like a home, or a home for vulnerable people, or
and actually
find
pump
a name.
money into, like I think
and
she
put
said
the
earlier,
facilities
facilities there, build houses, build
it's
bungalows.
nice. You see how you're saying it nicely.
Oh no! If the government has recognized that this is actually a cause for social protection, and this has been in our society for a long while, and it's continued since I watched that documentary as a kid till now, and this is ongoing. So at this point, we know that there should be resources should be channeled there. When they need to put resources and things they don't need to, they will find it.
So when it comes to invite people to join our conversation, 055561034. Let us know what you think about the situation of the witches' camps. Some of our MPs are calling for them to be closed down. What should be the way to go? 055561034. And you can talk about all the other things that we'll talk about as well. And we'll get to the EC conversation in a little bit. Al-Hadi is already talking about the Member of Parliament's concern about closing a camp for displaced women is wrong. Thelma, ask your panel, do they know the history of why we opened the camp? This is from Al-Hadi Dauda from Medina Estate. Al-Hadi, well, we are trying to understand, but there is always more to it than it seems. Yes, the camps, I think witches' camps should not exist. And I think the panel agrees as well. We are just asking the question of how do we continue to provide protection and care for the vulnerable men and women who end up at some of these facilities. I don't think this topic we can, there's an end. There's an end to it. So let's get to the EC story. Hastening slowly is what the Ghanaian Times is saying on introducing new technology into the election processes. Page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. Former chairman of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, has advised the Electoral Commission administrators to make haste slowly. And this is a figure of speech. Akosha will tell us which one it is in a minute. To make haste slowly in the introduction of new technology into election processes, he advised them to first consolidate gains with ones already in use before deploying new ones, which must be well suited for the needs and demography in order to avoid bigger challenges. He was delivering a keynote address at a round table at the University of Ghana yesterday, and he said that as much as technology aided elections, it was advisable to have a tech-assisted election than a tech-driven one. So tech-assisted versus tech-driven, and the discussion was organized by the Department of Political Science to mark its 60th anniversary, and it was on the theme Election Technology and the Future of Election in Ghana. Going on to explain his caution further, Dr. Afari-Gyan said maintenance and sustainability were costly, as well as finding the perfect one to fix a particular need, which was not readily available. So he goes into a few scenarios in that story on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times, hastening slowly when it comes to introducing new technologies into the election processes. Has technology helped us in our elections? I'm sure you would say yes. I'll start with you now.
So I was waiting for Akosia to explain to me
why.
Hasten
slowly.
Yes, because I mean hasting.
It's
an oxymoron.
Hey, okay.
Hasten slowly.
My English literature teacher should forgive me. And so hasting, but do that slowly. I'm liking it. So Thelma, you see, elections are part of a democracy, and so all effort to advance it, to make it better, are so much welcome. I was just putting my thoughts together, and I was thinking that, you see, we have a history in this country where anytime, for example, the Electoral Commission decides that, well, so I think we can introduce this system, this technology into our elections. One party or the other is thinking that it is an attempt by the Electoral Commission to actually rig election or cook election results before. And so you have people actually talk against it, sabotage it. But I like the term you use, that our elections should not be technology driven. It must be assisted. Because bearing in mind that maybe if it is driven, 3 of us will be able to cast our votes. But your 87-year-old grandmother would never be able to cast her vote. Also bearing in mind that it takes a longer time for some people to actually adapt to change. And so by the time they are adapting, the slow adaptation will shaping public opinion to mean that, I mean, we don't want it. You are wasting money on, forgive my language, useless things. Meanwhile, it is not useless. And so if there is the intention to actually introduce more technology into our election space, it must not start with, and so there is things that Well, so we've put together this app it must start with some consultations. Tell me, what do you think? Now, what do you think? What do we all think about?
Dr. Farijan goes into a scenario. He says the physical environment in which it would be used should be considered. Will all voters be able to use it?
Indeed.
These need customized technology, which is not readily available, so do not rush it. And he said the technology should be tested in a real-time situation before deployment and should be done a year more to an election to give ample time to address challenges.
Yes.
So he's going on to say the core technology needed were the ones used for accurate capture of voter registration, verification and tabulation of votes, and sending same to the EC head office in real time. He's advising against setting up of many collation centers and proposed the use of technology there because such centers were prime targets for electoral manipulation. And he's also talking about social media, where he's saying that despite its numerous benefits to the EC, political parties, candidates, and voters with respect to information technology, it had become a platform for hate speech and misinformation, and one must be careful in its use. So he's raising some of the stuff that you're talking about now. Will everyone be able to use it? And how long will it take for people to get used to the new technology in order to come on board?
And so I'll end my thoughts on his issue on timing. And so if we intend, for example, to use a new technology, it shouldn't be the 2024 election at all. We should go beyond the 2024 election, get it? And then after that, begin to sensitize people that in the 4 years after, this is what we are using. It has come to Teshi, my hometown. We've actually tested it. It has gone to Sagnarigu. It has gone to every nook and cranny, and it is tested. People have given you their feedback on it. Election officials, electorates ourselves will give you feedback on it.
Do a mock election.
You understand?
And test it.
But it shouldn't mean that, okay, so we are thinking that just to make it better. And by the time your intention is actually to make the elections better, you are having attacks from people. I mean, people just won't buy into a system that you've spent so much money to go acquire. And so for me, if I give the EC, I mean, I know it's just panel discussion, but if they are just cooking the thoughts of having to have a technology, even if it's assisted, let's use our current system as people know it. Let's use our current system beyond the 2024 election. Anything you want to do, whether it's technology assisted, whether it is driven, I mean, they're good for all of us.
Whilst we are talking about elections, let's remember that the Asin North election is slated for June 27, and the campaign trail is getting heated up quickly. And also, we have some district level elections that the EC is telling us will happen in October. October 3 is the date that was announced this week. So let's keep an eye on those things. What do you make of this hastening slowly?
For me, I always think that whenever we are trying to do any, work on our electoral processes, it's not something that should be done the year before the election is about to start. This is something right after the election ended, the very last election ended. From that year, the EC has 4 years. That's why the EC said that their job every day should be doing all of that. Now let's see what we can add. What were the flaws of the last process? What new technology do we have to add? What technology failed? Because most of the time, we are adding this, it's going to be faster, it's going to better capture these things, and then you see there's issues, and then those issues is what causes that political rift and all of that, right? So for me, I feel like the revamping of systems and all of that needs to start from immediately elections end and before the next election comes. So like you're saying, all these tests and stuff that need to do, you've already been doing the test 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years before the next election, because in all of this, the key thing is the trust of the system. And that trust of the system is what can cause war or not cause war. That trust. So if people trust that, the EC has been doing this work and we tested and tried and we failed here, we tested and tried and it failed, we tested and tried, and it passed here after 2-3 years, we know that by the time that we are come to vote, this has been tested and tried, and you need that trust. So that someone will be like, I don't believe in this. No, we've trusted. There's a 3-4 year building of trust that if you come and say, I don't believe it because of my own whatever, no one will believe you. No one will follow with that type of route because you've built strong trust. And most importantly, you also need a lot of people who don't want to vote because of all of these hassles and systems and fear of violence and all of that. This is how you can, further increase the number of people to vote once you have more technology that makes it more accessible. Me, I'm dreaming of a time where I can just sit at home home and email my votes, because I feel like sometimes a lot of time the reason why some of the young people don't go is they don't want to go and stand in a queue. They're afraid of maybe danger. They're afraid of so many things. They don't want to be involved in any of the politicalness that comes around it. All they want to do is vote for who they think is a good person, and they don't want to be involved. But sometimes these are the things that block it, So for me, if we're going to do these things, yes, kudos. But start it from immediately the election ends and continuous testing and trying,
Dr. Farijan is also talking about not having too many collation centers. He said that the too many collation centers it makes the whole election ripe for manipulation, which is quite interesting. A few of you are sharing your thoughts with us on our WhatsApp number 05555610034. Musa Abattoir says Jean Mensa will heed to the wise counsel of Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan that creating too many collation centers gives room for electoral malpractice. Jean Mensa should listen to wisdom and stop the Yentiobia attitude of using Ghana card as your sole registration document for new registers. Okay, you are giving us a proverb there. Thank you. I'm not able to read that. Daniel, regards to the house, the name Witch Camp must be renamed as a good recreation center so that society may not see them as evil and may not see them odd, for they are also human like us. That's Daniel's thoughts on the witches camp issue. Dan joins. Good morning, Thelma. The problem of attributing witchcraft to elderly ladies in the past could be blamed on so-called juju men and other traditional spiritual practitioners. Today, the blame should actually lie squarely on the heads of modern-day men of God, whose only mode of attracting followers is to tell people that their progress in life is stagnated by their elderly female relative. This problem is also very common in the south of Ghana too. More thoughts at WhatsApp number 05555610034. Zachariah, let's stick to the subject that we are discussing. If Ghana were to be a serious nation, we wouldn't dream of okay, Nana Kojo, let's stick to the subject, okay? I don't like for us to deviate too much from the core of what we are discussing, and we just want to see, progressive, constructive discussions of some of these things. For me, I see somebody strongly resisting a new approach because they won't be able to cheat anymore, talking about the electoral processes. Well, because we are still on the matter of the election, what is the story on the Asin North election? I'm trying to find that. It's on page 18 of the Daily Graphic. So NPP is number 1, Esroho. NDC is number 3, Asieho. LPG is in the middle, Honeho. So who will be the next parliamentary candidate for the Asin North by-election? The EC has concluded the balloting, and that trail is getting heated up. So the last contestant, an independent candidate, a woman, withdrew from the race and said she would not be contesting anymore. Whilst we are talking elections, groups are calling for support for Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia as he is expected to present his documents to his party headquarters today to contest. Whole Central NPP endorses Dr. Akoto. So a lot happening in the NPP by way of elections. So all these election stories, we are going to pack them all in this discussion. I think we've done a lot of service to it. There, Santehene is talking about the Boko conflict, and I just want to highlight the story quickly, appealing to factions in the conflict to lay down their guns. It was Mr. Asamoah Boateng, Chieftaincy Minister, who paid the courtesy call on him, and he called on the parties in the Boko conflict to lay down their guns, like I said, and allow peace to prevail as he leads effort to seek a lasting solution. Story goes on to say he has stressed his determination to resolve the conflict for peace to prevail in the country. According to the Asantehene, some key personalities and royals had been met already, and the decision, and the moment the arbitration takes off, the truth in the matter will come out and peace will prevail. That story is in the Ghanaian Times and also in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Chieftaincy issues also gathering thoughts in the Finder newspaper. The Speaker, Alban Bagbin, visited the Yagbonura, and they were talking about the human cultural values. And there was also a conversation about allowing chiefs to take active part in politics. So a lot of chieftaincy stories in the papers today. What are our thoughts on some of these issues?
And so I'll start with the Asin North, the elections that you. I'm sad that the one who read you was a woman. I mean, I'm just sad. I think I saw a social media post that 2 women were contesting. I was like, oh, we know we won't win, but at least we have a representation. And so at least we've also come to the party. We won't win. I mean, I don't expect any of the 2 women that for the LPG and the independent candidate to win. But now that she has withdrawn, I mean, I don't know, it's not too good news. But then also I want people to be, let's be cautious of the things we say around elections. See, when you follow the conversation on social media, well, 1 seat is a seat because of what it will tend to do in parliament. What these political people say and how they attack, I mean, each other using very unprintable words.
Yeah.
I understand the fact that, well, so this is a referendum into the 2024 election. But it is also a referendum for the peace that we want to enjoy as a country. I'm also saddened by the fact that, see, Thelma, so politicians, they have goodies for us and they'll wait till election. And that is why when they come to election, people will want to milk you till the breast out of which the milk comes.
No one will see you.
No one will see you again. But so Thelma, you see, I want the people of Asin to enjoy the project. See, whatever they want, they should ask, and not only from government, I must say, not only from government. You could say that, so the roads and government. See, the NDC should also show them that when you vote for us, whether we have we are in government or not, this is what we can do. And so it should be, as someone says, so incumbency. NDC is enjoying incumbency there, and NPP is also enjoying incumbency there. Before now, the incumbent MP was NDC, true or false? And the incumbent president is NPP. So if you bring the issue of incumbency in Asin North, personally, I think that both parties are actually enjoying some level of incumbency. And so, see, many constituencies wish. Now, I think the wish for every constituency that needs development is that, can't we have a by-election? What will happen for us to have a by-election? And people are craving that we want a by-election, and not on the grounds of death, God forbid. But people actually want by-elections. And I'm sure my constituency, maybe I want one. Not even for who wins the seat, but for the 24-hour, 1 week total development. I mean, roads, schools, rehabilitation that would actually occur
overnight
that would happen. And so I don't know which constituency that, well, maybe they are blessed to have, but people really want development. The message that the Asin people should send to the political parties involved is that, you see, when you want us, you come to us. I hear some politicians said, so now I stay in Asin North, and I said, oh really? You stay there because you want to win the seat. That's where you stay now. Says, yes, I've been there for like the past 1 month or something.
1 month.
Yes, you've been there. And so if you don't have a home,
it's
you are
good
lodging.
For the economy of Asin North. If they are getting all this activity, imagine hotels would be full. People will be selling more if you sell food, if you have a restaurant.
After the electoral commissioner declares and certifies the result, it is done.
But for now, you have it.
And that's what I'm saying. That so when they come, that's why the people want to actually milk them till the breast that actually produces the milk doesn't exist again. But it means that,
what's an image?
Yes. Can you picture what I'm saying? You, listen. I have your say.
Oh, my mind is on the chiefs. Like, what are we talking about chiefs in politics? What are we talking about that? Like, what kind of conversation is that?
Of Parliament,
yes.
And then so it's in the Ghanaian Times newspaper, page 9. Let me get it so that we don't quote the Right Honourable Speaker out of context. Let's see where he's coming from with this. Speaker questions barring of chiefs from politics. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has questioned the 1992 Constitution regarding traditional authorities barred from active politics. He contended that traditional authorities were the custodians of the land, and thus there should be a possibility of creating space to allow them, religious leaders and civil society organizations, to play active roles in the politics of the country. And here's a quote: "The real leadership of our society are the traditional rulers. So how can we run a government when we say the true leaders of society should not participate in governance?" The Speaker questioned the provision in the Constitution when he paid a courtesy call on the paramount chief of the Mamprugu traditional area, Nairi Abdullahi Mahami Buhagu Sheriga, to inform him about some of the activities he will be embarking on as part of programs to mark 30 years of parliamentary uninterrupted parliamentary democracy under the Fourth Republic and the journey so far. He's talking about touting the contributions of traditional leaders to progress, growth and development of the country, indicating that he does not agree with the constitution which bars them from participating in active politics. So he said members of parliament were supposed to work closely with the traditional authorities to champion the development of their respective constituencies. More details on page 9 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper today.
I mean, for me, he's right. The traditional rulers are the custodians of the land, right? And which is why they should not be involved in the dirtiness of politics. That is supposedly divine. That is supposedly a successional thing based on matrilineal or patrilineal things. And also there was a mention about religious leaders also be involved in politics. No, never. Governments ruling a country should always be neutral, secular, because people come from different religious backgrounds. People come from different traditional areas. So you don't want to have to bring all of that into the dirtiness of politics.
Even in chieftaincy, there are conflicts.
There are conflicts,
and that is why the Asantehene is always resolving one issue after another.
And then we are going to add politics and the dirty power that comes with the politics. And for me, if you're a chief, you are supposed to be the custodian of the land. It's not about a power grab, which is why it's successional. They say specific families have been chosen for all these years, so that's why it's by who heirs it, who is the next heir, and all of that. So it's not something that you should take for greed or because I'm the one who is supposed to sit here, I'm the one who can give away land. See the issue we have with lands in our country, where someone can buy a land and they've sold that land to several people, and it's chiefs who are doing this. Imagine the kind of political power that will come with something like that, and how rife things would be. So for me, I don't agree at all that chiefs should be involved in politics. I feel like if anything, they should have that nice separation such that they can be free from any dirtiness and actually do the work of being custodians of the land.
Politics shouldn't be dirty.
For instance, it shouldn't be dirty first of all, but we see what it is. See Britain, for instance. There's a reason why for the monarchy to survive the way it is, because now monarchies are all extinct. We don't need them anymore. It's now a democracy. We need the rule of the people, putting their voices. So for a monarchy to be relevant, make sure you do not put, they intentionally have separated the monarchy from the prime minister, from the British government. And this is something that Kwame Nkrumah started, that separation of, let's not give political power to chiefs, because there has to be that cleanliness. There has to be that real true duty.
Are you afraid of the scope of their power if chiefs were to be allowed into power? Because they, like the good speaker is saying, they have so much authority in society already. Are you afraid of the widening of the power that they could wield?
I'm not afraid of that. What I'm afraid of is the mullying of that power, the dirtiness of that power. I feel like that power is something we should, is a culture we should protect, is a tradition we should protect, and all of that, right? But then the making it dirty, making it about greed, making it about resources, especially when a country is going through economic hardship, right? For me, is when you.
It could very well be that when the speaker talks about playing an active part in politics, it doesn't mean like stand for election as an MP.
Okay.
It could be
what other ways, indeed. So we are thinking, what would the scope be?
There's a National House of Chiefs. There's a Council of Elders that advise the president. Is that active politics?
Okay, that would be an advisory. That definitely makes sense.
Is that active politics? Because that is also, offering your views on governance and
maybe taking the views of the people from your lands, taking the views of people to the president, who is also doing
on that front. Active politics?
That I won't call politics. That is the role they are supposed to play. I will call it them executing the authority. If they are the traditional leaders, for me, it will also be a problem if the president is also not consulting the traditional leaders, so there's that. But then, involve yourself in politics because you are the one who is the custodian of the land, so therefore you are championing causes for your place, so I have to run for positions and get, no, not at all.
Be appointed MPs? Is that what he means by
yes? So now I'm thinking, what would the scope be? Can they openly say that I support the NPP? Or
because some chiefs have done so.
And then immediately you do that. You know how the division trickles down in your own. I mean, in your own community.
Yep.
the chiefs that we have, Thelma, you get them able to put their people together. I mean, they live with the people in the community. They are like the father figure. People come to them. The people come. I mean, easy access to the chief's palace, which of course you can't get to maybe the presidency, or, for example, your member of parliament. See, Thelma, we've had enough issues with chieftaincy, issues of land, issues of whose time is it to reign, you know, all these issues. If we give them the green light to meddle in politics, it will shock you. We won't be able to define the scope. We won't as a country. So let us keep it as it is. This one, we are not even hastening slowly. We are not hastening in any, we are not doing anything.
We are just where we are.
Just where we are.
Where the Constitution puts us.
Just there.
So still in that chat with the speaker and the Yagbonura, who is the overlord of the Gonja traditional area, expressed his support for the proper human values bill being considered by the parliament to deal with LGBTQ plus practices. I know that if I get into this, Akosia will go into a whole...
I'm tired this morning.
But the OSP and his issues with Charles Bishop are also still ongoing. The Office of the Special Prosecutor insists that it has powers to arrest somebody like police.
Sheesh.
And the court is saying, hold on for the next 10 days until we are able to determine the merit of Charles Bishop's situation. That story is also in the papers. And in case you are wondering, 82 million Ghana cedis was stolen from financial institutions and Momo accounts. And 188 staff of financial institutions were part of those who were stealing the money. Fraudsters have also stolen 26 million Ghana cedis from mobile money accounts. And this was in 2022, an increase of 117%. So let's keep an eye on our Momo wallets a bit more. And then make sure that we are not being stolen from. So some criminals will be made to face the law if they are found guilty.
A typical scenario I had to go through. Someone sent me money, and then just like 2 minutes after the person said, "Now, so I've sent the money." I said, "Okay, received." Another number calls and says, "So I'm calling from something." The person was lucky that morning. But the thing is that, so after I said, "You haven't sent me money," he said, "I've sent you money and you're trying to take my money." Often you just access your phone, and there is a, when you want to cash out money, the agent gives you a pop-up just for you to enter your PIN. I don't know if any of you have had that, but I get that often. When I've not initiated or sanctioned any transaction, you just have the pop-up. So if you think that, well, maybe it's something and you input your...
Then they withdraw the money.
And so if you have not sanctioned, if I haven't sanctioned, I won't go ahead to actually authorize. You understand what I mean? So it won't be like you are there and they are doing the deduction. You are part of the transaction. It will not be taken from you. Is the word from hindsight, unaware. You are actually part of the transaction, but you are not conscious of exactly what it is. You are thinking that, well, it's a phone update or something asking me to actually input mine. And so let's all be careful.
Let's be careful. Now, thank you. Your final word on everything we've discussed, 2 seconds each, and then we rise for our next interview.
And so the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, proud member, we are celebrating our Men's Week. So at the Nazareth congregation, started on Monday and then it's continuing today. Today you have the hymn service, and then on Sunday is the Thanksgiving. Please, the men, I've made enough noise for you today. So happy Father's Day in advance, and I wish all Presbyterians happy Men's Week, a good celebration. Yeah.
Oh, I want to say happy Father's Day to Daddy. You know, Charlie, people always say, how do you become a feminist? It's because sometimes a father can raise his daughter to believe in her power, and I am because of Daddy too, you know. So happy Father's Day, Daddy, and I'll call you.
That's what I get all you. And next week is Akosia's birthday, so the whole of next week. Yes, Mr. New.
Since you said it,
please, next week is Akosia's birthday, so we are making Akosia. I'll make noise.
I'll collect the momo on your behalf.
I'll make noise for you.
No fraud, no
media personality, artistic activist, and cultural curator, and now I train you a communications expert. Ladies, thank you so much for making the time once again, and thank you for being a part of our conversations right here on GTV Breakfast. Continue following our social media handles. Breakfast Show will continue right after the break. We'll be right back.